Okay. So in the last class we were left at Active Directory partition. So we just completed the Active Directory components, and now I wanted to explain you how the Active Directory partition will be there. What is the partition of the Active Directory? Okay, and what is the database of Active Directory? Okay, that I wanted to uh, explain you today. Okay. See, Active Directory database name, we call it as ntds.dat. You can see here, this ntds.dat is the Active Directory database name. If somebody asks you what is the name of the Active Directory, you can tell it is ntds.dat. ntds means it is New Technology Directory Service .dit. dit means it is Directory Information Tree. Okay. So as soon as you install an Active Directory application or a service, okay, by default there will be three partitions which gets created. The first three partitions, which are schema partition, configuration partition, and domain partition, will get created. And the third partition is there now, the last partition, which is the application partition. So application partition gets created when you integrate any sort of application along with the Active Directory. So this Active Directory is very disciplined service. Okay, because basically it always keeps the content or the data in a hierarchical manner. Even it will help you to keep the same way. Okay, because if you look at Microsoft as an organization, you can keep every country has a different. Say for example, under Microsoft there are so many offices are there across the globe, but you create India. Under that you create multiple offices like Bangalore, Pune, Delhi, Hyderabad, and again under Bangalore you can create, okay, but Whitefield, Electronic City, Manyata, and under that you can create multiple departments: IT users, admin users, sales users, and facility users. Okay, like that. Under IT again you can segregate. In IT means a developer, testing engineers, infrastructure engineers, cloud admins. Like that you can segregate depend upon the domain. Okay. So since it is a very disciplined, when you integrate any kind of application, it will never merge the content of the it will never merge the content of the one uh, partition to another partition, because it never club the data of the same database and the other information of the application. So what it will do, it will create a separate partition for such applications and it will store there, okay, in the application partition. So now let us understand what are all the different partition and why do we need those partitions. Okay, this domain partition is there, right? Okay, let me discuss about the schema first. Okay, the schema partition is there, right? The schema is the very important partition which stores all your classes and attributes information. See, in the Active Directory, anything that you create, if you create a computer name, it is a class. If you create a user account, that is a class. But each and every class has got its own attributes like properties. See, when you say manjunath.tg, Manjunath is my first name, TG is my second name, and my username is manjutg. Okay, that is my SAM account. Okay, so here the class means the names, attribute means the properties. Okay, so both classes and attributes will be stored under schema. Okay, and this schema version is depend upon the operating system model. Okay, say for example, if you have server 2016, it will have a separate schema version. If it is server 2019, it will have a separate schema version. When you migrate from one operating system to another operating system, a higher operating system, then the schema version can be changed. Or if you don't want to change, you can even keep it like that, but you can change. Okay, that is about the schema. It's a very important partition where you store all your classes and attributes. Okay, and the schema version varies from operating system to operating system. Okay, and configuration partition. The configuration partition stores all your added or removed domain information. Or say for example, you have Tata Group as a forest. Under that there are Tata Motors, under the Tata Steels, many other departments are there. If anything gets added or anything gets removed, such information will be stored in the configuration. Or how many offices are there, how many sites are there, how many subnets are there, all those information will be stored in the configuration partition. Sites means, so you have a Bangalore site, you have Hyderabad site, you have Delhi. Okay, this sites is nothing but a physical location. Okay, where and all your business sites are there, that information will be stored in the configuration partition. And the domain partitions will store all the domain related information. Say for example, under Tata, so Tata softwares, as if you have taken, so that Tata softwares information, like how many users accounts are there, what are these passwords, okay, what are the security information, those things will be stored in the domain partition. And the last one is the application partition. So application partition, as I told you, it gets created only when you integrate any application along with the Active Directory. Okay, say for example, this DNS is there. Okay, DNS and Active Directory both are integrated. So DNS, without the DNS, Active Directory will not work. In order to have a healthy Active Directory estate, your DNS should work. If there is no DNS, Active Directory will not work because they both are integrated. But without the Active Directory, DNS will work. But without DNS, Active Directory will not work. So DNS is the mandatory thing that has to be there when you have the Active Directory estate. That is the reason when you try to install Active Directory, even though you are not selecting the DNS, Active Directory by own it installs the on its own, it installs the DNS also. I'll show you that. Okay. So that is the application partition information, and all the DNS related information, it will not merge with the domain configuration schema partition. It will separately keep it in the application partition, so that the retrieving of the data is faster and the performance will be more high. Okay, that is the partitions. Now you know there are four partitions: schema, configuration, domain, and application partition in the Active Directory. And the database is ntds.dit. And this date, now let us understand where is this database sits and few more information in the next slide. Okay, so before I understand that, when you install Active Directory, right, there are certain ports will be. Any question, Narendra?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, fine. So there are a couple of ports. So ports are nothing but the ventilations at the a kind of door in the computer. See, when you have a house, the house has got multiple vents. Door is there, window will be there, exit will be there, exhaust will be there, right? So each and everything is for a different purpose. We normally use the door to get in and to go out of the house, and windows to get the light and the wind, right, and exhaust just to send the bad airs and get the fresh air, right? So every purpose is different, but they have different house, okay, vents. So in the computers also, we have a option called ports. Around 65,555 ports will be there in the computer, and each and every ports will be used for a different purposes. Okay, so when you write a computer picture here, okay, it has got multiple ports, not the physical port. Physically you can only see some ports like VGA port, USB port, and some other C-pin ports, all those things, and HDMI, all those things will get. But there are inside the operating system, there are a couple of more ports. Okay, so they will be used for a different purposes, and each and every door we call it as port, and that will have a separate number. Okay, so such as couple of few important ports are there in the Active Directory as well. The important one is LDAP. You can see here, LDAP is nothing but lightweight directory access protocol. If somebody asks you what is the important protocol of Active Directory, you can tell it is LDAP. LDAP means it is lightweight directory access protocol, and the port number is 389, and it is both TCP and UDP. TCP means it is transmission control protocol. UDP means is a user datagram protocol. So TCP is a wired connection. Like we both are talking on the landline. So between your receiver and my receiver, there is a wire communication is there. And there is no packet loss at all. When you have landline, there is no packet drop at all. But UDP means it's connectionless. We both are speaking on the phone. I am on mobile and you are on your mobile. If there is no network, whatever we speak in during that time, you will not get the packet again. You will tell, I am unable to hear you, can you please repeat? But in case of wired, it is not like that. 100% packet transfer will happen from point A to the destination. Whatever you send the packets, that packets will be 100% it reaches there. And similarly, whatever packet will be sent by the other person, that will be reached to your destination. Okay, so this is the TCP and the UDP. TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connectionless. In TCP, 100% packet will be getting transferred, 100% accuracy will be there, and acknowledgement will be there for each and every packet. But in case of UDP, it is not like that. Say for example, it needs to send some 100 packets. TCP, what it will do, it will send one packet and it will get a confirmation, did you got the packet 1? As soon as the person say yes, it will send the second one. So here end to end, the transfer will happen on the acknowledgement basis in case of TCP. But in case of UDP, it is not like that. I want to send 100 packets, whether the person received it or not, what it will do, it will simply throw 100 times. Packet 1, packet 2, packet 3, packet 4, packet 5. He will never wait for an acknowledgement from the receiver end. From this side, he never bother about the acknowledgement whether he received or not. That is UDP.
So,
TCP, it is end to end synchronized and end to end ordered data transfer. Yes,
Sir, UDP means wireless network.
it is wireless. That's what, connectionless, it is wireless. Yes. Okay. So 389 is the important port, which is LDAP port. If somebody asks you what is the important protocol or protocol, it is LDAP. What is the port number? It is 389. So any connection that happens on that computer, it will happen in two ways. One is secure way, another one is no unsecured way. So this LDAP works on SSL also, secure socket layer also. That is the port number 636. If somebody asks you what is LDAP port, you can tell 389. If somebody asks you what is the LDAP over SSL, you can tell 636. Okay. So this is 636. And Kerberos. Kerberos means it is an authentication protocol. Means as soon as you enter your username and password, that username and password will be taken to the domain controller from your computer. It will check for the whether the username is entered correct, is available or not. Yes, it is there. Then it will check for the password whether the password is given is correct or not. If the password is correct, it will allow. And then it will give a ticket to you for a valid of 10 hours. And next time when you go for a break and come, when you enter the username and password, it already have a token. It will never ask the domain controller again till the 10 hours. That's why when you go to office morning time, when you put your username and password, it will take 2-3 seconds to log in. But when you go for a break and come, as soon as you enter the password and it enter, it opens because you already have a token there. So normally what happens when you go for a movie theater, he will check for the ticket for the first time. Correct? You have to be in the queue, you have to show the tickets and you will get in. But during the interval, nobody will ask you. Correct? Huh? Because you already have a ticket and the ticket is valid for 2.5 hours, that particular show. Same goes here in the Kerberos also. So you have a ticket called TGT, ticket granting ticket, TGT, ticket granting ticket. Okay, It's a token that is valid for 10 hours. Okay, after 10 hours again it will talk to the domain controller and it will get a new ticket if the machine is online, but nobody works for 10 hours, maximum 9.5 hours people works. Okay, so that's the Kerberos. And DNS also, it is domain naming system, so it is one of the service or a protocol. What it will do, it will resolve a computer name into IP address and IP address into computer name. Means for us it is easy to remember the names, but it is very difficult to remember the numbers. Correct na? If you give me 100 domain names, I can remember. Okay, facebook.com, linkedin.com, instagram.com, correct na? microsoft.com, google.com, tata.com, okay, what not. You can remember all the names, but if you give me 10 IP addresses, I cannot remember. So it is all human tendency. So what we do, in order to overcome from that issue, so we have bought in a service called DNS. In that DNS, what we will do, we will create the records. If somebody asks you like facebook.com, give the IP address like 1.2.3.4. If somebody enter microsoft.com, give like 2.3.4.5. Like that we create the record. When you enter like www.google.com or microsoft.com, the request will go to DNS, and in the DNS it will check for the records. If the record is there with the name, it will get the IP address. Because computer does not understand the strings and human beings are easily understand the names, but numbers are little difficult. Correct na? That is why, to help both the computer and the user, we have brought in this DNS. I'll explain you more about that when we do the classes. And NTP, it is a time synchronization protocol, network time protocol. So this is responsible for the time synchronization across the all the computers. Okay, and global catalog, it is 3268, and 3268 is SSL, RPC is 135, SMB is 445. Okay, so take a picture of it, because people will ask you what is the port numbers, important port numbers of Active Directory, then it will be useful for you guys. Okay, so that's about the ports. And little bit technology, terminologies here. Okay, I already told you it is NTDS is the Active Directory database file. Okay, and NTDS is the thing, but it is a new technology directory service. You see here, new technology directory service. DIT means it is a directory information tree. These are the name and the file extension of Active Directory database. And few more terminologies we need to understand. Sysvol. There is a folder called Sysvol in the Active Directory. Okay, so there it stores all the information which can be shared to other computer. Sysvol is nothing but it's a system shared volume. It is a folder in the Active Directory. As soon as you install the Active Directory and promote to your domain controller, you will have this folder. And what will happen? It will have all the information that should get replicated from one domain controller to another domain controller. I told you, right, when I was explaining the Active Directory, I have written two. One is Hyderabad, one is Bangalore. If you create a user in Hyderabad, that will go replicate in the Bangalore. If you create anything in the Bangalore, that will go and sit in the Hyderabad domain controller. How it is happening? There is the replication happening. So anything that has to be replicated, that will kept in the sysvol folder. Okay, then the replication comes. Replication means exchanging or moving the information from one computer or one domain controller to another domain controller and vice versa. Okay, so there are two types of replications. Okay, one is inter-site, another one is intra-site. So it is intra-site means the replication happens within the same network or same site. Okay, say for example, you have Hyderabad here. In Hyderabad you have 3 domain controller. Bangalore you have 3 domain controller. If the replication happens here only among these 3, this is intra. Similarly, in Bangalore also it is intra. But when the DC01 and DC03 of Hyderabad and Bangalore happens, the synchronization happens. This is called as inter-site replication. Okay, very simple. And later, with this help of DC01, this 2, this is 3, this is 1, this is 2, they will understand the updated information internally. Okay, as soon as the DC01 receives the latest information, he will communicate the same within the Hyderabad location. How many domain controllers are there among them? Okay, to keep them updated. This is called as inter-site and intra-site. Okay. Now you are asking site. Site means, as I told you, it's a physical location. For us, Bangalore is a site, Hyderabad is a site. Okay. So these are the little bit terminologies that you wanted to understand. Okay. The same thing repeated here. And now little bit on the trust relationship. So there is a concept called trust actually. Okay. So what happens? You have having a company called facebook.com. Okay. Facebook here. Today you have a company called Facebook. Tomorrow you are acquiring a company called Instagram. So there are a couple of applications which are there in the Instagram and which are there in the facebook.com. So I want facebook.com user should also be able to access the Instagram application, and Instagram user can also access the application in Facebook. Now if you remember, when you post a reel in the Instagram, that will also play in the Facebook, and in the Facebook, if you upload some reels, that will also go and sit in the Instagram. How that is possible? There is a connection called trust. So what we have done, we have enabled the trust between the Facebook and the Instagram, so that the Instagram user can use Facebook, Facebook user can access Instagram. So to enable such kind of connection, there are four kind of trust. One is forest trust. Here facebook.com is a different company, instagram.com is a different company, both were managed by different people. Now what we are going to do, since we have acquired the company, we have enabled the trust between both Instagram and Facebook. And you see they are transitive or non-transitive. Here, transitive means Facebook can access Instagram, Instagram can also access Facebook. Transitive, two ways. Non-transitive means only one way, means only Facebook users can access Instagram and not Instagram cannot access Facebook. If that is non-transitive. Transitive means it is two-way. I am believing you and you also same time trust me. Non-transitive means I'm simply trusting you, but you will not at all trust me. That is called as non-transitive. Okay, and the next one is external trust. So external trust means, say for example, you only have some companies. Okay, Facebook is also yours, Instagram is also yours only. What happened here? Maybe you have server 2022. Here you have server 2016. So when you enable the connection, I mean trust between two different operating system or Active Directory versions, that is called as external. Third one is realm. Realm means the trust between two different platforms like Windows Active Directory and maybe Novel, or Windows to Linux or Windows to Novel, like that. When you have two different identity and access management providers, then that is called as realm. So shortcut means, in my previous one I was explaining here. Here I am not enabling the trust between all the three domain controller of my Hyderabad location here, and all the 3 domain controller of my Bangalore location here. What I have done, specifically I have taken the DC01 here in Hyderabad, and in Bangalore I have taken DC03, and I am enabling the trust between these 2 domain controllers. That is called as shortcut. Means not every computer can talk to the DC03 of Bangalore location. So what I will do, I will just call this person as edge server, and this bridge server, and this person as a bridge server. So they both will have the communication, they have the trust. Then if the DC01 want to access some application in the Bangalore location or different domain, so what it will do, it will send a query to this DC01, and this person will send that to here, and the communication is to be established. That is called a shortcut. Only one domain controller in the domain A or forest A, and another domain or forest dedicated server there. Between the two things or 2 domain controllers, we will enable the trust. That is called as shortcut. You see, the trust between a forest to child of another forest, that is called as shortcut. Okay, so these are all the some trust relationship. This is also important. Okay, now the next one is, the last one is FSMO. Okay, so FSMO means when you install the Active Directory, there are 5 roles will get created in the AD. So FSMO is nothing but flexible single master operational roles. There are 5 roles in the Active Directory. As soon as you install the Active Directory and promote a domain controller, in that you can see there are 5 FSMO roles. In that there are 2 we call it as forest wide role, 3 we call it as domain wide role. Okay, so now let us understand what are the 2 forests and what are the 3 domains. These 2, right, schema master and domain naming master, are common for the entire forest. And this domain naming master, this sorry, a relative identifier, primary domain controller, and infrastructure master, these are the domain wide roles. Okay, say for example, when you create Tata here, Tata is a forest. Here Tata Motors. Here Tata Steel. Okay, imagine like this. When you install the Active Directory here first time, you see all the 5 roles. What is that? Schema master, domain naming master, and relative identifier, PDC, and infrastructure master. All the 5 roles will be there in the Tata, because that is your forest here. This is your forest. Okay, and this is your, imagine this is your child domain, or yeah, it is your another domain, child domain. This is your child domain. When you install the Active Directory here and add this as a another child domain controller, when you check the FSM role here, it will only have 3. What is that? Your RID will be there, your PDC will be there, your infrastructure master will be there. The remaining 2 will come from the forest here. Okay, similarly if you check here, 3 will show in this domain controller, 2 will be coming from your Tata domain controller. Okay, because those schema master and domain naming master are the forest wide roles, and the RID, PDC, and infrastructure master will be there from the domain level. Okay, like that, even if you create 100 domains or for trees, you will get the same thing. Okay, so now let us understand little bit on the what is the importance of each and every roles. Okay, this schema master is there, no? That schema master will be like I already told you, schema master is nothing but it is one of the important role where you can store your classes and attributes. Domain naming master, I told you, domain naming master, that is also one per forest. Entire Tata there will be own DNM. In entire Tata there will be own one schema master. Okay, but schema master is help to store the class and attributes. Domain naming master is help, domain naming system. DNS, I told you, right? Domain naming server. Here domain naming master. That means it will make sure any new domain controller is getting added or removed. That time this domain naming master will be useful. Okay, so those are the importance. The schema is you will be used to store the classes and attributes. Domain naming master is responsible for added or removed. It is responsible for adding or removing the domain namespace in the forest. Then the domain wide roles are three: the relative identifier, primary domain controller, and infrastructure master. This relative identifier is there, right? So this is a role. It is responsible for having the RID pool. Say for example, see, in Active Directory how it happens, I already told you computer does not understand the name, it will only understand the numbers. If you create a user called Manju, okay, it will add an ID for this like 10204131879, okay, 8, like this one number. So this different number, okay. So the RID is responsible for having a free available RIDs for newly creating users and objects. Any objects, no classes and attributes, okay. Because computer will only understand these numbers. As soon as you type Manju, this Active Directory will not understand with the name called Manju. It will only understand from the RID. So this is called as relative identifier. So this RID master responsibility is having the free number of RIDs for newly creating the users. I mean newly creating objects. Okay, that is the RID master responsibility. By default it is 50,000. When you create a domain controller, 50,000 objects can be created. Okay, by default. But as soon as it reaches 40,000 or 45,000, then this RID will talk to the forest and it will tell, I can see only 5,000 RIDs are left out. Can you please increase my RID pool from another 50,000? So then that will get increased to next 50,000. There is no limitations, but it will increase as soon as that get exhausted, the range get exhausted. That is the responsibility of the RID. And this primary domain controller is there, right? This is very important. If somebody asks you what is the important FSMO role, it is PDC, because PDC plays major role. Okay, PDC is responsible for the password updates, okay, and the group policy updates, and also the time synchronization. Okay, so time synchronization means, say for example, if you have 1 lakh computers in the estate, in all the 1 lakh computers the time will be same. If it is now the time is 8 o'clock 20 minutes and 10 seconds, okay, the same is there for the entire estate. All the computers in the estate will have the same timing. Okay, so that is the PDC. So what happens if the time is not in the synchronization? Say for example, in one computer 1, if it is 10 o'clock, another computer if it 10 o'clock 10 minutes. What happens if a user change the password recently, it is 10 o'clock. Okay, when you try to send the password to the another computer, his time is already 10 o'clock 10 minutes. He will tell, no, you are sending the old information. Yeah, already 10 o'clock 10 minute happens and you are telling the information of 10 o'clock. It is a 10 minutes old information. I will not accept. Why that is happening? Because there is no time synchronization. Then when the user trying to log in, even though he is using the new password and the new password is not there with the other computer, correct, right, which is not having the time synchronization, then it will tell password is incorrect, password is incorrect. and the account gets locked. If you use more than 3 to 5 times a bad password, the account will get locked. Okay, that is why when PDC is not there, your time will not be in synchronization, and you will very frequently get the password account lockout issues. Okay, so if somebody asks you which is important role, PDC. The remaining all four roles are there. Now if you shut down also for longer time, no problem. You can shut down for 1 month, no problem. If there is no relevant activity, you can shut them down, not a problem. But PDC is important. If PDC is not there, there are a lot of issues will be generated. And the last one is infrastructure master. So infrastructure master, it tracks the, I mean, it is a kind of group nesting, I could say. Okay, let me go back here. Yeah. Say for example, a user one is there. Okay, a user. It will make sure this user is part of how many groups. Okay, there are 10 groups, and if he is part of all the 10 groups, is he part of the same domain or the different domain? So that checks will be done by the infrastructure master. See, it tracks the changes to the objects in the other domain that are members of the groups in this domain. Okay, I am a user of this facebook.com, but I am also part of some groups in instagram.com. Was there any change happens? That tracking will be done by the infrastructure master. So if somebody asks you what is infrastructure master, this infrastructure master is responsible for having the information or the updates about the group nesting. Okay, that is called as the infrastructure master. Okay, so with that I think we have covered all the FSMO roles and the AD key topics. Okay, so let me stop the screen share and then I can take the questions. 1 minute. I'm going to stop the recording.